morning and welcome to Life Chats with Maggie and Bunny. I'm Maggie.
And I'm Bunny.
Well, welcome to 2025.
Mm.
Wow, it even sounds weird to say that, and especially sounds weird to say it because we're recording this not even in
Yes.
2025. So, yes, welcome. Today, we're happy to have you here. And today, as our guest, we have Marybeth Haines from the Harmonic Egg Niagara. And we're going to talk a little bit about what she does, what it's all about, and why you might want to go there. So,
Awesome.
welcome, Marybeth. Thanks for coming.
Oh, thanks for having me here. It is so great to connect with you ladies once again.
Mhm.
I know that we connected on here, what, 4 months ago, maybe
Yeah, I
something like
don't
that. I don't know.
remember.
Time's going by so fast,
Yeah.
right? And I really loved it. I always love spending time with you guys. So thanks so
Mhm.
much for having me back.
Thank you for
Thanks.
coming. Yeah, we're happy to have you.
Mhm.
So, tell us about the harmonic egg and how you got involved in it.
Well, that is a great segue in. Where do I start? So maybe I'll kind of share. Well, why don't we talk? What is the harmonic egg, right?
Yeah.
So the harmonic egg, like when you kind of hear the words harmonic egg, you can kind of feel into what it might be like. So it's a wooden resonant chamber that is in the egg shape. So the way that I like to describe it is think of an egg, put that egg in an egg cup, right? So kind of like imagine what that would look like, right? Because when I think of an egg in an egg cup, that's how I can connect, right? So take that egg now and put it on its side. So it's not vertical, it's on its side. So that's what the egg shaped chamber looks like. It's made of wood, so it's a wooden resonant chamber, and it's a very large shaped egg. So it is 11 by 11 by 7 feet. So it's kind of big. So I couldn't really bring it with me today to kind of show you what it is. But yeah, so what it is it's all based on sound and light frequency therapy. So take colors and sounds and frequencies from music and certain instruments and certain tones. And what it is that is played within the egg while you are in the egg in the center in a zero gravity chair. And so what you do is you sit in the egg, we lean you back, we get your feet up, we get you nice and comfortable with a blanket. And then you are embraced within the sacred geometry and the spiral shape of the egg. That's part of the reason why it's egg shaped. Because when you think about the egg, you think about the spiral shape. And so you get the sound and light frequencies that are coming 360 degrees around you. So if you wanted to come for relaxation or for stress release, or if there's some sort of imbalance that you're feeling within your body, or if you're having you're wanting to work on manifestation or meditation, like really there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to come and experience a harmonic egg session. It's embracing sound and light therapy frequency to be able to support the body, mind, and spirit. Supports our physical body, it supports our energetic bodies. So that's kind of like a bit of an introduction. I kind of gave you like a, blah, 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 a whole bunch of information there. But how I got involved with the harmonic egg is back in 2022. I had, so several years back, I had something come up for me later on in life that happened as a child.
Mm.
And it came up in a very unsettling way for me. So I was kind of working with that. And I finally got to the point where it's like, you know what? I think I'm moving past this now. I think I'm moving to the point where, yeah, I'm finally healing from what happened. And then in 2022, it came up again. It was like that next layer of the onion, right? And I actually got to the point where if my body manifested that trauma in a very, very physical way, and my nervous system became affected. So I felt like my nervous system started shutting down. So I lost my ability of like strength to be able to walk. My neck started swelling. I was having 24/7 nausea. And then I kept getting flashbacks every time this
Wow.
became very strong. So my body was trying to release something or work through it in the best way that it knew how. And what happened was I got to the point where I didn't know what to do. I was, for lack of better words, I was bedridden. Like my husband Troy had to actually help me to get up, to go to the washroom or whatever it is that I needed to do. So I heard about from a client of mine about something called the harmonic egg, and I never heard it before. And I'm like, well, where is it? They're like, Niagara Falls. And I'm like, wow. So I checked it out and I went and had a session. And because the harmonic egg supports our nervous system runs everything, right? When our nervous system can be supported, all the rest of our systems can fall into support as well. Mm-hmm. So I went for a session, and after that session, I felt that there was an immediate feeling of something starting to shift. And I'm like, I don't know why, but I got to come back. Like, it's something shifted here. And when you think about it, you think, oh, it's a giant egg, and you come and you sit in it, and it's, some lights and colors and music frequencies, but it's so much more than that. Mm-hmm. And I came back by the fourth session. The pain that I was experiencing had decreased by 85%.
Wow.
By my 10th session, I was actually able to be back to work part-time. And then I started going monthly from there. And within a couple of months, I was back to work full-time. So I really had an amazing journey with sound and light therapy, being able to support my nervous system at a very, very profound level. Now, my story is unique to me, right? It doesn't mean that this will be everybody's experience, but it was such a profound shift for me that I knew there was something to this. So I got to know the owner really well. Her name is Paige Clark, and she's the owner of Harmonic Egg Canada. And she asked me, once I had gotten better and back to work, if I could come and support her animal clients within her center. Okay. And then I started doing that with harmonic egg sessions with animals. And then I started working with people. And now I have Harmonic Egg Niagara. So kind of a very long way to get to that question that you asked, but that's how I got, in with Harmonic Egg Niagara and be able to work with the harmonic egg and its amazing support and how it can help us in so many ways.
Yeah, no, that was very exciting. Oh, Maggie, you're on mute.
Sorry. I will say that before, in preparation for today's show, I did go and experience the harmonic egg. And I can say it was nothing less than marvelous. Mm-hmm. And because the best way that I would explain it to our listeners is because we are spiritual beings living in a human body, we experience human things that sometimes aren't aligned with our spiritual being. And so I didn't have any illness when I went there. I wasn't feeling unwell, but I wanted to bring into balance my mind, body, and soul. And so that was my intention of going into the egg. And I tell you, working with Marybeth for just that one session, I felt incredible. Incredible. And the light colors that she chose, the music that she chose, just did do that. And while I was sitting there, I completely, in a way that is hard to explain in words, relaxed. And I could feel the vibration of the music settling my inner Maggie. Yeah. So yeah, it was incredible. And in this time of new beginnings, I want to make it a regular practice of mine, in the same way that I make meditation a regular practice. I want to make this a regular practice of coming back to myself, because that's what I found I was able to do in that time I was in the egg, is connect and come back to me. Because there's so many things that go on in our world that tend to often detach us from our soul, and the humanness that we are living in a human world tends to sometimes disconnect us or get us out of alignment, however you want to say it. And I really did find that this practice brings you back into that alignment.
You said it beautifully. And it's so interesting because we do become, we get kind of those disconnects from who we truly are. And that happens because of things that we experience in our life experience. And a lot of times, I mean, our world right now isn't conducive to us really nurturing our mind, body, and soul. We're very fast paced at the moment. We're very go, go, go. There's a lot that we are taught to look, not within. We're taught to look external for what we need. We're taught to get help from someone else. We're taught to get validation from others, and we're not taught to give that to ourselves. And it's so interesting. You mentioned kind of like how this harmonic egg session that you had was able to kind of bring you back to yourself. And I've had several clients, especially lately. We always tend to attract the mirrors to us, right? We always tend to attract the clients that teach us, like teach ourselves so much. And so it's like there's many clients that are coming lately that are saying, you know what, I feel like my soul's here and I'm here, and I feel like I want that connection again. It feels too separate right now, and I want to come back into that wholeness. And it's so great to be able to have an opportunity to do that, because the egg isn't the healer.
Right.
You're the healer. The egg just gives you the parameters in which you can give yourself permission to come back. Right. And so when you come for a session, it's not like, oh, let's just plop you in an egg and let's, choose some cool colors for you and let's choose some music. Like, it's all very consciously intent. Everything's with intention. So Maggie, when you came, we had a chat before you went in, and you shared, why you're there and what you'd like to work on and what your intention is for that particular session. And through that, that's where the colors got chosen. So, there are some great modalities when it comes to light and sound therapy. There's some great modalities when it comes to frequency or energy. And what makes Harmonic Egg unique, at least how I look at it, is that it's not cookie cutter. So you're not going in to a session and everybody gets the same thing to help their nervous system come back into balance. You're actually getting what you have come to receive on that particular day. So it's like everybody doesn't get like purple and green or orange and blue, or right. Everybody gets the colors based on why they're there. And so a lot of times especially when we first come to a first session, we want to get that nervous system supported anyway. Because with any type of energy work, our bodies will begin to naturally detox. I mean, if we go for reflexology or Reiki or a massage or even chiropractic or osteopathic, right? When our body works on coming back into balance, we begin to naturally detox. So we want to bring that nervous system support in. And so a lot of times, really cool colors, that I say cool colors, but beautiful colors to use for nervous system support would be like the purples and the blues and the greens. Because when we look at, so blue is very calming, it's very soothing, it's very supportive. Blue supports anything that could be, a lot of times we have pain in our body or inflammation. Blue is a great one to calm and cool that, right? Blue supports in clear communication. Blue helps our throat chakra. There's so many things that blue can come forward to help us with. Purple's very, very aligning with our purpose. Purple brings in clarity. Purple helps with pain management. It helps to kind of reduce pain. Purple helps with being able to bring in the alignment of anything that it is that we're looking for more guidance on or clarification on. And purple is just very calming and supportive. And then we look at green. I mean, when you go outside into a green forest, or you're, feet on the grass, or you look out in summertime with all the plush greenery, right? Green is a universal healer. Green is very warm and loving and nurturing. So, working with those colors, not even with the harmonic egg, working with those colors, like wearing something green, eating green foods, having purple sheets when you're going to sleep, having blue sheets, or wearing those colors, it can be very, very supportive. So somehow I've gotten into colors. Do you want to talk a little bit more about colors?
Well, I was actually gonna ask you, since I haven't experienced it yet. I was gonna ask you, like, I heard Maggie say that you pick the colors. Like, so is it through, like, how do the colors get picked, or how does the music get picked for your clients? You did say that it is unique to each person. It's not cookie cutter. So is it through the talking? Do you do it intuitively? Like, what happens there? How does that get chosen?
Great question. Yeah, so the colors and the music get chosen based on what you share, why you've come. So a lot of times, so there's some paperwork that you fill when you come at the beginning, and then that kind of shares a lot. And then I just ask you specific questions. We have a natural, organic conversation, and then I'll ask you, what is your intention? Like, what is it? Why are you here today? What would you like to be working on? And then through those questions, really great information comes forward. And from that, then it's like, okay, you know what? So you brought up today that, and I'll just use a fictitious example here.
Yeah.
You brought up today that work is really stressful right now, and you're having a hard time with sleep. And you know what? You're feeling really separate from things right now, and you really want to feel one again. And so with that, we can look at, well, what would that feel like for you to be able to have that? What would it feel like for you to have that amazing night's sleep, get up for work that day, go through your day, and feel like, you know what, this was a good day today, right? And then you would share specific things with me, because how that might look for me is going to look very different for you, because I'm not you and you're not me.
Right.
So when you share that with me, then it's like, you know what, let's bring in purple for that, and this is why. Right. And then it'd be like, sharing that, but it's not like, so as practitioners of harmonic egg, anybody who has, we're called egg guardians, right? To the harmonic eggs, and all the eggs have a name. So the harmonic egg at Harmonic Egg Niagara, her name is Misty. So when we connect in with that, we do choose the colors of the music. But the way that I like to work with you is, it's not like, you know what, let's bring in purple, let's bring in green for this, and this is why, and here we go, let's go, right? It's like, no, how does that feel for you? Like, how does that, how does that feel? Or, that kind of thing. And usually everybody's like, no, that makes so much sense. But if somebody were to say, you know what, I don't like that, I don't like green, like I've never have, right? So it's kind of like, okay, how come? And then we talk a little bit more about that. And a lot of times we find out that they don't like green because of what happened when they were 7. And it had to do with, I don't know, they were made to eat spinach. Yeah. Or so, you know what I mean? I'm just, again, this is like a fictitious example, but a lot of times there's a reason why we have that aversion. So the colors are chosen. How do you feel about that? And how would that feel for you? The music. So all the music. So we all have, when we look at music and when we listen to music, right? How it makes us feel, how music can really, like, I'll listen to this really like empowering song, and then my energy will just get right. Music really affects us as energy beings in human form. So the music that is with a harmonic egg isn't just any kind of music. So it's not like, oh, let's just get something in that's going to make you feel good, or it's going to do this, or it's going to do that. It's all consciously created. And what I mean by that is these are all unique to Harmonic Egg. And these are composers that have, with intention, put intentions of whatever the tones and the frequencies and the notes of each music piece will be. So for example, if somebody is having post-trauma stress, like post-traumatic stress, then they might bring in the water element. They might bring in the soft sounds of like the piano or the cello or the violin, or the stringed instruments that can help support that vibration, right? And they bring in, so we have a song that it's called Be Loved, and it's BEE, loved. And they brought in the harmony and the frequency of the humming of bees from this beautiful ranch in Colorado. And the reason why they brought that in is because the beekeeper, his name is Charlie, he loves his bees so much, and the work that they do together is absolutely fascinating. So they brought the bees and they brought their vibration in of their humming to that particular song. So it's not like you're listening to like bees humming the whole way, but you've got that in there in those vibrations and tones. So everything is set up with intention. And so when I share with you, let's bring in the, for example, again, let's bring in the purples and the greens. And then here's a song that we could use today, and this is why. And I'll bring in the different pieces of that song and what it's about and how it can support that intention of that session. And then from there, you would go in and experience that. Did I answer your question, Bunny?
Yeah, yeah, you did. I have more questions.
Yeah.
The one of the questions that came up that seems like it would probably flow right now would be how long are sessions? Like how long are you actually like in the egg or
Yeah.
yeah.
So you're in the egg for 50 minutes, 50.
Okay.
We have a chat probably about 20 minutes to 30 minutes beforehand.
Mm.
And then after you're out of the egg, we have a debrief. You can have a glass of nourishing electrolytes, which can which will support the integration of the session. And Maggie's just held up her electrolytes there. That's awesome. Here's mine. Cheers.
Yeah.
And so all together, you're there about an hour and a half.
Okay.
But in the egg, you're in there for 50 minutes, 50.
Now I did see online something about well, because I mean, a little part of me might be a little bit nervous about like claustrophobia. So I do know that I have seen through some of your posts, that you don't have to go in the egg, that you could be outside of the egg, and that you could even possibly do it virtually. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the egg is very, very large. So
Hmm.
if you can be in a large car,
Hmm.
um, it's kind of that feeling. The only difference, though, is that in a car you have windows,
Right.
whereas in the egg there isn't any windows. So for anybody that may be uncomfortable in spaces like that or have that claustrophobic feeling, we do not have to close the door.
Okay.
You can have it with, so to have, um, it's always recommended to have the door closed for, we'll say, quote, best experience.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that you won't get the best experience if you're not comfortable with that door closed.
Hmm.
And that's okay. So a lot of times, so every time I come into the center for the day, I will turn on the egg and I will have that play so that the center and the energy of the center is set for the day with that intention of supporting the clients that come through the door. So even though you're not in the egg, you can still receive the benefits from it. Anytime somebody has come in that's had claustrophobia, we don't just put you in the egg and say, okay, let's try it and we'll see and bye-bye, right? It's like, no, like let's have you sit in the egg. Let's see how you're like, how do you feel? How is it like, right? I'll give you an example of somebody that I did have in there. She sat in the egg and she just went, I feel comfortable, but I'm not ready for that door to be closed yet. I'm like,
Hmm.
that's fine. We can leave it open. Absolutely. She goes, well, maybe close it a little bit. So we closed it a little bit. And again, we spent maybe 10 minutes even before anything began. It was like, let's make sure you're comfortable first. The other thing is that there's a doorbell in the egg.
Okay.
So in the side of the chair, there's a pocket. And you ring the doorbell and it gives a big loud ding dong. And I'm like right there to open the door or whatever it is that you need. You're not locked in the egg. You're not sealed in
Hmm.
the egg. The door opens from the inside. So it's not like one wouldn't be able to get out while they're in session. But basically, going back to that example of that person that was in the egg, uh, she said, okay, let's go. Let's start it. Right. So we had the door closed just a little bit. And so we got everything going. And about 8 minutes into the session, doorbell rang. So I'm like, my human part went, uh-oh, okay. So I was right there. And she was like, you can close the door. And so it was totally fine. She just had to get that comfort first to understand that it is safe. I am safe.
Hmm.
And this is where it's at. So, but yes. So again, I'm making a big long answer to your question.
Oh, that's cool.
And I can say to our listeners, I had some anticipation about that as well before I went. And getting into the egg, and when Marybeth was closing the door, that didn't feel like I was claustrophobic. The good thing is the door doesn't shut the whole entire way. You see a little ring of light coming around, so you know the room is outside where you are. I never felt in a dark place. It didn't feel, even though I did have her close the door, it didn't feel completely closed, because it's not like it vacuum seals and you see no light come in. You can see the ring of where the door is the entire time. Yeah. So I didn't at all feel like I was trapped. Not at all.
And it's meant to give you that feeling of being in a safe, nurturing space.
Right.
Right. And you're right. There is that small gap in between, like that space in between the egg and where the door comes into to close. So again, it's not sealed, it's not locked or anything like that.
And as the session went on, it felt more like a cocoon to me.
Yes. Beautiful way of putting it.
It didn't feel like I was in the shell of an egg. Yeah. It felt like I was wrapped in a cocoon that was my safe space.
Exactly. And that's totally the whole intention of that piece. Bunny, you had asked, like, can it be done remotely, right? So it can be done remotely. So if somebody said, there's no way you're getting me in that, my mom, she doesn't even want to come near the egg. She's afraid I'm going to put her in it. I'm like, Mom, I promise you I'm not going to put you in the egg. I promise you, right? But she has claustrophobia. So she knows I'm not going to put her in it, but she has this fear of I'm going to make her go in it or something. So she's kind of like, I'll just see it from a distance kind of thing. But then she finally saw it. Right? It was that anticipation, right, of that claustrophobic feeling. We get fears for they come, and we hold on to the meaning of them, what that fear brings to us, right? And so if you're thinking I'm claustrophobic, and we might not even want to go near something that we have a fear of, right? Even though we don't quite understand it yet. But remote sessions can be done, and remote sessions is where we would use your photograph. So basically, animals, for example, I don't want to put a dog in an egg for 50 minutes, right? Like, do they really want to be in there for that amount of time? So we use that animal's photo, and the same can happen for humans. So let's say the person doesn't want to go in the egg. Let's say the person is in a hospital or in a distance away where they can't actually travel. Let's say that they're quite ill and they want to do this from the comfort of their own home. Energy knows no distance. Energy can travel infinitely. And again, we're using the intention. So we use a photograph of you. We put down your name at birth and your date of birth. And then that is that physical representation of you. We place your photo in the chair. We do everything else exactly the same. We set the intention, we talk with you beforehand on the phone or whatever is going to work best for you. And then we set up the session for you to receive energetically, remotely from a distance.
Very cool. And you did open too. I was going to ask you that. I did see that you also do sessions with animals because we know you through your animal communication. That's sort of how we met you. So so this to me felt like an expansion of even that as well, as being able to serve animals in a new way, in an expanded way with that as well. So that's really cool. So that's what that's how you do it, is by doing a photo of them.
By working with their photo. Exactly. That's and we've had some really, really amazing stories come back from the animal's caregiver or the animal's mom or dad, or there was a dog that was really very, very timid around people, reactive because of anxiety and fear. And after a couple of sessions, that dog started trusting people. It was amazing. It just like there wasn't even animal communication involved. It was
Mm-hmm.
like connecting in with that animal, giving that animal that voice to be able to, you know, share energetically what they'd like to receive, and then placing with that intention in the egg. And it was really cool. um my little guy Darwin, he was a bearded dragon. He was a beautiful soul that came here in bearded dragon form. He passed away last May. And but as he was getting ready for transition, he was talking with me and letting me know that he was preparing, but you could tell he wasn't, like, his body wasn't feeling well. He wasn't feeling well at all. And I had let him know that there was a he could have an egg session if he wanted, and I explained what it was. And he told me he would think about it. And he woke me up a couple days later. So when I say wake me up, it's not like a bearded dragon came to my bed and tick, 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 wake up, right? Like he energetically woke me up, because he would talk to me a lot early morning energetically. And he said that he wanted to have a session. So we had a session for him that day. And I wasn't at the center. So remember I mentioned Paige, the owner of Harmonic Egg Canada?
Yeah.
She was the one that actually did his session. And I was here with him while he was receiving it. And this calm peace came over him, and his body was able to rest.
Mm.
And it was the most profound experience that I've had with an animal receiving an egg session in that way. And not only did it help him, even though that session was for him, his energy shifting helped my energy shift as well. And I felt that I received healing from that egg session, even though it wasn't even for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it really helped his system, his nervous system, because he was getting ready for transition. So his body had to now move through that, right? Our bodies will move through the process of transition when we're getting ready to depart.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was beautiful to be able to bring in that soul support, but also the physical support to him during that session. So, yeah.
And now you've piqued my interest because of what I do outside of Out Above and Beyond. And
Yes.
Marybeth and I have talked about how the harmonic egg can help humans who are at end of life and in transition. And it is exciting to me that in this time of new beginnings and stuff, that we can partner together and the universe aligns people for these purposes. It's kind of like Marybeth said in the beginning, that she was aligned with Harmonic Egg Niagara before she owned it, and it brought her in alignment for such a time as this. And this is something as well that I want to talk about, of how can we incorporate this for those people who are transitioning end of life, and how can the harmonic egg help them with that, the same way that it did for the bearded dragon.
Yeah. And it's really beautiful to know that when it comes, so I think when we look, and I listened to your podcast, the one that you guys had that open discussion about death and dying, right? And you talked about how a lot of us don't want to go there. We don't want to talk about it. We don't know how to talk to our loved ones about it, right? Whether it's us that is going through it, to talk to our loved ones about it, or whether it's our loved ones going through it and being able to talk together about it. And I love how you're expanding your services to be able to bring in that support, to open up that discussion, and to say that, you know what, this is valid, and let's talk about it, right?
It's all timely for a year of new beginnings.
Yes, absolutely, right? And everything aligns in such a beautiful way, and I'm so grateful for that. So grateful for that. So I think that when one is going through that process and they're preparing, right, the egg can come through in a way, and I think those will know, they'll know if this is something that they want, or that will align with them, or that they feel will be helpful, right? The egg isn't for everybody, but nothing is for everybody. We know
Right.
what we align with because it feels right for us, right?
Right.
But there's some really beautiful pieces of music that have been, again, consciously created with intention that bring in the beautiful frequencies. So there's a song that we have that's been in, we use a lot for end of life situations, and it's called, it's not only used for end of life, it's used for many different other reasons, but it's called Frequency of Love. And it brings in the harp, and it brings in the piano, and I'm trying to remember, it brings in dolphin and whale. Maggie, what did we do Frequency of Love for you?
Well, now as you're discussing that and saying that, I think that's what it was.
Interesting.
But we didn't talk about that ahead of time when we were talking about the music. And it's funny because in my head, when we were talking about the music, I was thinking, oh, I hope there's harp music in it. And there was. And now it is just incredibly, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about this, because given the fact that I am an end of life doula, how incredible is it that you would choose that song?
It's
without
see how things align.
Yeah.
Like, do you see how it kind of comes together without even realizing it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that it always blows my mind. So cool. It is so cool. So yeah,
And for our listeners, this is authentically unrehearsed.
In real time, holy shit moment. That's what this was right now. An in real time, holy shit moment, putting pieces together. I think that
Like,
when
oh,
this
wow.
happens, when this happens to intuitive psychics, mediums, all like when it happens to us, when we get surprised by these things, when we're like, oh, like another, like
I
it's
have
just amazing.
goosebumps
It's just
all over me.
amazing. It's just incredible. It's amazing. And
I
it
love
makes it fires us up even more to see more of this stuff and having the alignments and seeing it happen.
Yeah, and I'm excited, like, not to put Marybeth on the spot or anything, but I'm excited that I want to come and do my new podcast in front of the egg one time, just to let people see, as
Love
my
it.
end of life experience podcast will be,
Love it.
how that could be. Because I want to share that with people and say, you too can experience this. And like you said, the egg is not for everyone. Just like any other modality out there is not for everyone. We don't get in touch with every single thing that there is out there in the universe. We get in touch with what is meant for us.
Yeah.
And for the people that this is meant for, they will know. Their soul will know. Your soul will call you to it and bring you to it. In the same way that you never sought out Harmonic Egg when the universe brought it to you.
Exactly.
And I believe personally that that's how things happen. Everything that is meant for us will come to us. We don't have to actively seek out what the universe has for us. We just need to let it come.
Yeah, be open to know. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons, right? Because we want to know the answer, and we want to know it now. Right? Like, I don't want to wait until it comes. Like, I need to know now. And that's my ego, right? Like, that's that part that wants to fulfill this right here, right now, right?
And that's why I am full on goosebumpy right now, because in this year of new beginnings of January 2025, this is what we're telling our listeners. Calm down. Let the universe bring you what you need, because it will.
Yeah.
Because it will.
And it's so beautiful. It's so comforting to know that, right? It makes me, when you just said that, I felt like, Marybeth, you're not alone. You have support. And it's being open to knowing that that support is there. So maybe I might not know what it is yet, but I can take action steps to find out what that is. And action steps means I can allow myself to receive. I can open to receive. I can do things each day to support my body, mind, and spirit
Mm.
so that answers can come and they can flow more instead of having my brain in the way all the time trying to figure it out. Right? It's just such a beautiful gift to know that.
Yeah. It's
It's
so
very
funny
comforting.
when I did see the first post about the harmonic egg, like I said, I haven't been there yet, but
Mhm.
I do know that like it was such a, a spark of curiosity, like, oh, this sounds really cool and interesting and like and this is fun. And I mean it helps when I have a connection and trust with the person who is presenting or bringing that
Yeah.
Mhm.
to the forefront. But I do think that that's an important piece too, is that when you are in alignment with specific people, that when they have something in expansion and when they have something that comes up, you might go, huh, what's happening over there, right? Because like you said, you do attract like in in the mirror and that sort of stuff. So we do kind of attract the people of our tribe or whatever, whatever next
Yeah.
step that we're taking. And so yeah, so seeing that like that you brought this up, I'm like, oh, I was like, oh, I immediately I trust Mary Beth, right? So it's like, okay, what's this cool new thing like that I've never heard about before? And so yeah, so that's like I know I'll get there. Don't know when, but I do know that there's that spark of curiosity. So I mean,
Yeah.
I'd put that out there too for people, regardless of if it's with the harmonic egg, although that's what we're talking about today. So I do hope that that will spark some interest for people. But so with the Harmonic Egg Niagara to go there, but otherwise, like anytime that you feel or hear this little spark of curiosity, this little thing, like kind of follow that thread and just kind of
Yeah.
see where it is and what it is. Sometimes it's not the full follow through, and I think that again, that's something that our ego programming conditioning, we feel like we always have to finish something. Sometimes that's not what it is. It's
Yeah.
just the journey to get there, or we'll meet some other person or some other thing that will show up. But because I know I've had like a light session before, but I think this would be, I mean, this really sounds like an expanded,
It's
like a
really cool,
very,
buddy. It's
like a,
really cool.
a very expanded piece. And it is very exciting. I mean, you Mary Beth, you're so like you brought Aqualead into my life. You brought, well, even I took the empathy course with you at the animal communication. Like, so there's so many things that you've introduced to me in my expansion of my spirit, my experience in this time, that it's like a natural flow to like this new
Yeah.
thing that I do know I'll get there. I do know, that I'll see some and have some experience with it. So, um, I'm excited about that. So yeah,
Yeah,
so thank
Yeah.
thank
you.
you. And thank you for sharing those such kind words about it and our journey together. I
Hmm.
remember when I met you back what
28. I don't know if it was 2019. I don't know.
yeah, it was
It's been
around
a
that time,
while.
like 2018,
Yeah.
2019. And you were always so very open, giving, and supportive to me.
Mm,
And thank you always for sharing. You share my
yeah.
posts and things like that. Like, you guys are really supportive, and I just have so much gratitude for that.
Yeah. Well, I
Thank
was even going to ask you,
you.
how is it that we or our listeners, or how can we support you more? Like how much, what ways can people support you more?
Oh
Like,
wow. Well, thank you. I think that, you know, if if you know how we say like, well, you'll know if the harmonic egg is something that speaks to you or feels that's something that is aligned to you. And if it's something like even just helping others know that this is available in the
mhm,
community. There's a lot of, I mean, I was doing research and the amount of support that we in Niagara here are needing as a community, emotionally,
mhm,
physically, mentally. I mean, the
Hmm.
wait list for therapy,
mhm,
and even the affordability of therapy, right? It's something that we don't have a lot of access to right now. And um, this is something that I really hold the intention or envisioning of being able to support those who need support, like where I was in 2022, right? Knowing that I couldn't get, like, I've been in therapy. It's been very helpful to me. It's a very long process though as well. And so it's something that, I mean, thousands and thousands of dollars can be spent in order to get to a certain point. Um, when it comes to the egg, you don't have to spend thousands of dollars to get there.
Right.
And so it's, I guess, again, here I go again. You ask me a question and I give you this long answer to get there. But it's kind of like, if you know of somebody that is looking for support, just sharing this opportunity with them. And if you're listening to this and you're not in Niagara, there are harmonic egg centers all around the US. In Canada, they're growing. So they're out in BC, they're in Alberta. We got a couple out east. And we do have Toronto, Mississauga. So there are, it doesn't have to be Harmonic Egg Niagara, but even just like the Harmonic Egg, itself, and just sharing and letting people know that this opportunity is out there for them, I think would be a beautiful gift. I am a small business, and for every small business, it's like, even if it's something that just sharing the information. Hey, did you hear about the harmonic egg? Here's a website. That would be so helpful. Just, helping more people understand and know that there is supports available out there. And again, the harmonic egg isn't for everybody. So I'm not saying, share it with everybody, no matter what. Even if you don't like it, share it. If it aligns with you, to go, right?
Yeah.
I would love it. Just thank you for asking, how you can support. I think like you ladies are supporting me so much as it is. And I just am so grateful for that.
And definitely, for sure, for people even who are listening to this podcast, like Marybeth said, if you think someone else would resonate with this, share this podcast with them. Let them hear what Marybeth has to say about it too.
Right.
Yeah. So then that way we
And
can
with
get
that,
this out.
we do want to thank you, Marybeth, for being with us and sharing your wisdom and all the things that you have shared with us today about the harmonic egg. And I think it's also, I just want to share for 1 second what's been sitting on my desk is our tribe, that we all have a tribe. And as Bunny said, something sparks. So if today's topic sparks something within you and you feel the energy that maybe the harmonic egg is calling you, reach out. If it's something else that you would like to see on our podcast, reach out to us. And we would like to highlight other things this year. So, Bunny, in that regard, tell people, how do they get in contact with us?
Well, first we got to say, how do they contact Marybeth? So, Marybeth, how do they contact? Do you have a website? Can they find you on social media? Where do our listeners reach out to you?
Yeah, for sure. So my website is harmoniceggniagara.com. I am on social media, so I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and you can find me at Harmonic Egg Niagara. I do have my YouTube channel as well with some videos that have been coming out. I have more that are coming out soon as well, and so again, they're all at Harmonic Egg Niagara. So if you just look that up on each of those, and even if you wanted to come to the center for a tour, right?
Cool.
You don't have to come for a session. You can just let me know, because they're by appointment. So sometimes I might not be at the center. And so just let me know, reach out, and we can set up for you to come by and just have a look. And if you want to sit in the egg or, that kind of thing, again, it doesn't have to be for a session. You can come learn more about it as well.
Right. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
And if you want to reach out to us, go on our website, ataboveandbeyond.com, and our email address at ataboveandbeyond@gmail.com. And that's how you reach out to us. And even if you forget all the stuff about Marybeth and how you can reach out to her, reach out to us, and we can get messages to her as well through us. So,
and thank you for joining us. And again, Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. Thanks for having me, guys.
Bye.
Bye.